Hello, I'm Dan from Nevo4 Electric Bikes, and today we've come to review the new and improved Nevo4 from Riese Müller. Now, we've travelled up the road probably about 5 minutes from the showroom in Nailsworth to do this review. This is our second location. So the first location we found some lovely autumnal colours, a little bit of noise in the background, which was taken over by diggers gouging rocks out cliffs, chainsaws, aeroplanes, motorbikes and cars. Could you get something noisier? So now we've got about 2 minutes into the review. We've now got chainsaws starting as well as a digger, and the dog wants to play. Come to the Cotswolds and ride your bike. It's a lovely, quiet place. Okay, come on then, let's pack up and go. So today we've tried another location, and you might be able to hear in the background as we're starting, somebody's got a power washer out to clean their car. So when specifying this bike, one of the first things we need to think about is the gearing options that we've got. And on the Nevo, there are absolutely piles of them. There's a standard 3 different options from Riese Müller: the Touring, the Vario and the Roll-Off, which is a chain and cassette, a Enviolo hub or a Roll-Off hub. But in addition as well, on this bike, we've got the all-new Enviolo automatic option. Automatic meaning it's going to change gear for you. You don't have to do anything. We set the cadence, the speed we're going to pedal, and that all changes. In addition, there's also the high-speed bikes. So high-speed ones are the ones that will assist you up to 28 miles an hour. They're not legal in the UK. They would have to be categorised as a moped, so you'd have to put a number plate on them. So we don't tend to see many of those, but we can order them from the factory. And then there's a GT and a non-GT version. The non-GT version has a 28-inch wheel on it, so a thinner, taller wheel, which is better for, I guess, long-distance road touring. And the GT bikes has a 27.5-inch wheel with a wider tyre, so a fatter tyre on it. So in total, there's 10 different versions of the gearing we can go for. They are called a Nevo Touring, a Nevo Vario, a Nevo GT Touring, a Nevo GT Touring HS, a Nevo GT Vario, Nevo GT Vario HS, a Nevo Roll-Off, a Nevo Roll-Off HS, and a Nevo Automatic. I've probably missed some of those. I can't remember what they all are. There's a whole pile of them, but plenty of options when it comes to the gearing and the sizes of the tyres. Next thing to think about then is the colour of the frame that we're going to go for. So there's 3 different colours, and I'm going to remember these today. The first one is this one, and it's called Dark Grey Matte. The second one is a white one, and it's called Pure White. And the third one is a dynamic red metallic. That's the one. So 2 colours are gloss finishes. The red is a metallic, and then the grey, the dark grey, this one is a matte finish on it. Once you've done that part of it, next thing is the sizing. This gets confusing as well. There's 4 different sizes of this bike that are available. There's a 43, a 47, a 51 and a 56. All of those are available if you buy a GT bike. But if you go for a non-GT bike, so the Nevo Touring or the Nevo Vario, you can't get the small bike. And that's because the 43cm bike comes with a 26-inch wheel, which isn't available as the narrow version. Really confusing. So essentially 4 different sizes, unless you wanted to go for a non-GT bike, something along those lines. So once you've worked out all those basic parts, sizes, colours, and the gearing, then you get to start thinking about all the other options that you can go for. Now, I'm going to start at the front of the bike and try and make my way through to the back and try and remember all of the different options that are available. There's a lot of them. I'll try not to miss anything, and if I do, I'll pick it up as we get to the end. So let's start at the very front. So I mentioned this just now, wheels. So you've essentially got 2 different sizes of wheel to go for, either a 28-inch wheel, a three sizes, 28-inch wheel, a 26-inch wheel, or a 27.5-inch wheel. That will be driven by the specification of the bike that you go for. But if you go for the 27.5, the GT bikes, you then get a choice of two different sorts of tyres. So standard tyre on these bikes is on the GT bikes is a Schwalbe Moto X tyre. That can be upgraded for the GX pack, which will then give you a Johnny Watts tyre, so a slightly more knobbly pattern to the bike. So if you're thinking that we're going to be spending more time riding a bit more gravel, off-road tracks and that sort of thing, it's a nice option to go for to upgrade to a more knobbly tyre. The standard road tyres, the bikes with the non-GT versions, a 28-inch wheel, they are running, I think, a marathon tyre on them of some sort, or maybe a Big Ben, maybe it's just Schwalbe Big Ben. I'll find out the specification and tell you later on. Next thing, brakes. All the bikes are going to have hydraulic disc brakes as standard, provided by Magura. They're probably going to be a Magura MT4 on the back and an MT5 on the front. Nice, big, powerful brakes, stopping power, what you need when you're coming downhill. Really smooth as well, so they don't have a horrible bite to them or anything. They just feed in lovely, very, very powerful brakes. What's thinking about the brakes? One of the options that we can have on this bike is the new Bosch 2.0 ABS, or ABS 2.0, whatever they've called it. It's a nice system. It's upgraded from the previous version that they had. The old version was a big clunky box that went on the front here. Now on the bikes with ABS, we've got a tiny little unit that mounts onto the suspension down the front there. You can hardly see it. It's got another little disc inside the brake disc, and it just monitors the speed of the two wheels to see if they change. If it does, it then stops you locking the front wheel. We've had a go with this one on plenty of the bikes, and it definitely stops that front wheel from sliding out at any time. So that's a Bosch ABS, really nice option. It gives that extra safety to the bike, and the cost of it isn't huge as an extra cost, and it's also reasonably discreet. So we see that as being a very, very popular option that's going to come through. Moving up a little bit further, suspension. So all these bikes are fitted with pneumatic suspension, so air suspension, which can be adjusted for the rider weight. There's a little valve on the side here, so we'll pressurise that suspension depending on the weight of the rider. And then you've got this feature on the side here to lock it out, so open or locked out. You'd only lock it out if you're doing road riding and you want the bike really, really efficient. Most of the time you'll ride it with it open, so it has plenty of give. So next thing, moving further along the bike, the battery. In here, this bike is a Bosch Smart System bike. This one, as standard on all the Nevos, they're fitted with a 625 watt-hour battery. So a little bit different to things like the Charger 4s that have as standard a 750 watt-hour battery. But there is an option to upgrade this to the 750. So if you wanted, you can still go for the big battery. You won't be able to upgrade to the 750 watt-hour though if you go for the small frame. So the 43 centimetre bike can only be the 625 watt-hour battery. Not that that's a problem. 625 watt-hours, maybe about 60 miles of riding in eco if you're riding sensibly, or worst case scenario, then down at maybe sort of 30, 35 miles. So moving up to the handlebars on this bike, there's two versions of the, I guess they're going to call it the cockpit, but the two versions are it has a cockpit or it doesn't have a cockpit. The cockpit is essentially the piece on the handlebar here that sort of wraps around the screen, and then it's pivoted through this part so that we can actually swing the handlebars up towards us or push them back down again, so it's got the adjustment. That's called the cockpit. On the basic version of this bike, it doesn't have that, so it has a fixed stem that you cannot adjust, and then it has an Enviolo 100 display. The Enviolo 100 is the LCD type display, so it's that calculator type display on it. Bit more complex than the calculator, but it gives you all the information that you need up on the handlebars here. And then you can upgrade and you can go for the Kiox 300, and the Kiox 300 is the version that has the colour screen and just more information, and it just has like some nice little graphics and bits and pieces to go with it. Either display you go for, it's going to be fitted with this, which is the Bosch LED remote. And there's information that can be displayed on the side here that tells you how much battery that you've got, the power setting that you're in as well. It's got your plus and minus buttons for assistance, left and right to scroll through, walk assist, all that is built in here. And you can actually take these little screens off and not use them at all. So if you went for the version that, say, was the Enviolo 100, you could take it off, unclip the thing, and then never use it at all and use it just with this LED remote. most people, I think, are probably going to buy this Kiox 300 display. It's only something like 115, 120 quid, something like that. But it just makes the user interface a lot better. And I think most importantly, it gives you this adjustable stem. So for me, it's a no-brainer to go for that with the cockpit that's on it. Other nice feature on this bike, we've got these little supernova lights here up on the top. So we've got a front light and we've got a rear light as well. It used to be that this was just a standard beam front light. Now these are all upgraded. And on the handlebar, we've got a little button to press for a main beam and dip. So all these bikes are coming with a main beam and dip lights, and these are really powerful lights, and they are taken straight from the battery, so you're not going to have to worry about changing what they call batteries in your light at all. It's always going to be there, and you can run with them all day long, so it works as a nice sort of a daylight light, visibility type light, so you can be seen all the time. Now this bike is a bit special. And when you look at the handlebars, you'll notice there is something missing. And the thing that's missing is a shifter, a gear shifter. There's nothing to change gears. So on the chain and cassette version, we'd see there was a thumb shift, a trigger shift type thing to change gear. On the Enviolo, there would be a twist to go on there, and then a roll-off would be a little electronic buttons to press up and down to change. This one has nothing, and that's because this is running with the Enviolo automatic. So down the back over here, all the gear changing is being done for you. And there's a little setting on your computer. You press and hold the button here. It took us a while to find the button to press and hold. You press and hold the button, and then you can scroll across, and you can go and change the cadence, which is the speed at which you're pedaling, and set it, and then you do nothing else at all. Now, that has been absolutely superb, because you can combine that with an auto setting on the assistance level. So it will choose what assistance, it will choose what gears that you need, and you literally just have to pedal this bike and do nothing else. It helps if you turn, and it helps if you brake every so often as well. But it knows to change down the gear. It knows when you suddenly push off and you want to go faster to then get the gears moving up. And we've ridden this one around the local area, and it's absolutely incredible to think that you have to do nothing at all. I find it quite strange. I'm used to changing gear, and as I come to the top of the hill, I'm like, oh, go, and then you realise there is no gears, and seconds later, it's changed gears for you. So if you're looking for a bike that is really simple to use, isn't complicated, everything is done, then probably this with the automatic gearbox and the auto setting on the assistance level is the best thing you can possibly go for. On the handlebars, whilst we're up here looking at this part of it, this is the standard handlebar that comes with the bike, so it's almost a flat. It does have a slight shape to it, and it's got these lovely comfortable ergon grips as well. There's another option that you can go for, which is a swept back handlebar. It's called a comfort kit, and that is combining then the swept back handlebar and also a slightly wider saddle as well. Oh, that saddle's warm. That's nice. So that's a no-cost option to go down that route. It's great, I guess, if you're riding on-road, but if your plan is to try and take this bike off-road, I probably wouldn't be recommending going for the comfort handlebar. It's far better to have that wide, flat handlebar. Looking a bit further down the bike, down in the middle, most important part, motor on this bike. So this bike is fitted with the Bosch Gen 4 Smart System motor, which is 85 Newton meters of torque and 250 watts of power. It's absolutely superb. It's the one that they've been using now for a few years. It's the most powerful motor that they've got in their range, and it gets you up it gets you up any hill. We've ridden these to the top of Snowdon and all sorts of crazy stuff. It's a really, really good motor, nice powerful 85 Newton meter motor. Looking at how that power is then transferred to the back of the bike, because this is an Enviolo automatic, so if it was an Enviolo, an automatic or a roll-off, this would all be the same. It has a belt drive, so a Gates carbon belt drive, transferring the power from the front to the rear wheel. Obviously, if it was a derailleur version or a touring version, we would then be looking at a chain on this. Nice thing about the belt on this is that there is pretty much no maintenance at all. So there's no oiling needed to be done on this. There's no indexing of the gears or anything complicated like this. It's just fitted, it runs, you get on it, you ride it, and it does everything for you. So the belt drives are brilliant. They're becoming more and more popular. I would say that now we probably 90–95% of the bikes that we sell are sold with a belt drive to some sort of gearing on the back, and it's rare we see excuse me, we see chain of cassette bikes going out anymore. Although having said that, the chain of cassette bikes are brilliant because they're really efficient and lightweight. It's just that people don't like doing the maintenance, so they'll do anything to get past it. So, you know, innovations like an automatic gearbox are going to be a popular option.
Just hold with the
okay.
the plane. What can we pick up while we're...
Me heating my hands on the saddle?
You're obsessed with these saddles.
It's so lovely and warm. Okay, so when we're looking at the gears on the back of the bike, the various different options, the chain and cassette version is using a Shimano Q's 10-speed derailleur that's on there. This is a Enviolo trekking hub. I think that's actually the same as the other hub that Enviolo use, which is called a 380, a 380% range of gears. And then the last one, the top of the range one, is the roll-off E14, the one with the electronic shift on the handlebars. That's a 540% range of the gears. So if you want massive range of gears, I would say probably go for the chain of cassette or the roll-off hub. If you're looking for sort of more easygoing leisure riding, sort of this sort of stuff, you know, tarmac, gravel paths, cycle paths, undulating stuff, all that sort of thing, then the Enviolo hubs are absolutely brilliant. Chains and cassettes and roll-off hubs, if you're going to ride up mountains, that's probably the option that you want to be going for. Moving a little bit further up, okay, I've got to come to this part. This is the most important part of this bike. So this bike has obviously a very nice saddle, but this one is heated. So this bike, it's got a little button underneath. This is an option. It's £47, I think. You lose your Cane Creek thub buster, so the suspension seat post is here because there's basically a cable running through the middle of this. So the suspension seat post is gone. But instead, there's a button underneath here and you press it and it lights up blue, and then this heats up to 37 degrees and it makes a really lovely warm saddle. And when you're standing talking about bikes, it's really nice because you can just keep your hands warm just by putting it on the whole time. And I think it's good for riding as well. But it is very, very nice. So winter days, if you're going out on your bike, jumping on this, yeah, it's nice. What I'm most looking forward to, and they don't make this, is when they work out that the best idea is to heat the hand grips so that when your hands get cold, you can actually warm them back up on there. So that would be nice. But yeah, heated saddle, £47 is an option. I don't think anybody else in the market is offering this yet. Available both on the Nevo4 and also on the Charger 4. It's not available on any of the other bikes in the rest of the range at the moment, but I'm sure with time that will come. If you're worried about choosing between whether you go for suspension and warm bum, what I would do, because I'm clever like this, I'd definitely go for the warm bum, and then I would run the tyre pressures really low. And then I'd be very, very comfortable. It would be really inefficient, but I also really don't care either. So yeah, it's a tricky one not having that suspension that's as an option in there, but the saddle is pretty cool, having a warm saddle. And telling everybody you've got a heated saddle on your bike, come on. This is what you want. You want to say, right, so on my bike I've got a heated saddle, I've got an automatic gearbox, it automatically does all the assistance for me, I've got ABS on it. It's like having a really posh car. It's got everything you could possibly want on it, and it's just really simple to use. Heated saddle. That's where you've got to start. Moving up the bike a little bit further. So locks. So as standard on these Nevo4s, we get this ABBA Shield lock that goes on it. This has got the same key for this lock as it has for the battery. It's on this side, the little keyhole. So you've got one key to drop the battery out and also to lock the bike up. This has a little bar that drops through the wheel and stops the wheel from turning, so nobody will be able to ride your bike off. And then as another optional extra, again it's about £47, there's a little chain bag or a little bag that goes under the saddle, holds a chain, and that plugs into the side of the lock so you can lock your bike onto something. So this part is standard. The chain extension is a little bit extra if you want to get that as well. Looking at the rear of the bike, the rack, so here we have got I'm just checking what it is. It's an MIK adapter built into this rack. And I'm checking the weight. Yeah, so it says 20 kilograms load rating on this rack here. So a nice decent weight, so you can get 2 pannier bags clipped on either side, or if you use the MIK adapter, you can buy say trunk bags and stuff from companies like Basil who have the adapter built in, and it will just clip straight in. 20 kilograms, 2 10 kilogram bags, more than enough to carry all the stuff for the day that you're going to take with you, your coats, your waterproofs, your sandwiches, what else are you going to take? Bottles of Prosecco and yeah, everything else you can possibly load onto them. And then also there's this rubber strap as well. So if you want to just have your coat and chuck it underneath, sorry, take it off and put it on the rack, then this rubber strap you can just strap down onto it. All the bikes are fitted with mud guards as standard. It's a Riese Müller. It's going to have absolutely everything on it. So the nice thing about the Nevo4 is it is a step-through frame, so it's nice and easily accessible for anybody. We don't have to worry about the crossbar up on the top here, and it makes absolutely no difference to the ride at all. So whether you have the crossbar or not, the things that this bike is going to be used for, you might as well go for the step-through Nevo version of it. Yeah, it's just really easily accessible. And that makes this, as an all-round bike, probably one of the best bikes that Riese Müller make. I think it is probably the best-selling bike that Riese Müller make. If you combine a step-through bike with ABS braking, automatic gearboxes, I can't remember all that other stuff that this bike's got, heated saddles, comfort handlebars, adjustable stems. This bike is so easy to use. There is nothing to think about other than pedaling, turning, braking, and then looking around and remembering where you're going to stop for coffee or beer. That's it. That's the Nevo4 from Riese Müller. If you're thinking of buying one of these bikes, you're probably reasonably confused now by all the different sizes, gearings, and all those different types of things. Pick up the phone, give us a call. We'll happily spend the time talking through the bike with you, working out what's going to be the best thing for you. We'll do your quotations, and then we can get you a bike ordered from the factory specifically that turns up within about 4 weeks. Okay, now this is really important. We have started doing a package called the Edimo Advance. It's a package of all the extra little bits that you're going to need for your bike that we're going to include in the cost of your bike. It has some critical things. First one is, and I'm awful at remembering these, the first one is the Connect module. So Bosch make a module that has a GPS tracker and an alarm, and it is not fitted to Riese Müller bikes as standard because in Germany they make their own RX system, so any bikes that come to the UK don't have it. So what we've done is we've taken the Connect module from Bosch, which is a GPS tracker and alarm system, and we're going to fit that to this bike free of charge. Secondly, we're going to provide you with a gold rated lock. So this is an Abus Bordeaux folding granite lock, 6,500, can't remember the exact name of it. It's a gold rated lock and it's suitable for insurance purposes. So we're going to give you one of those. It's worth about £150. You're going to get that included in the price of the bike, so you're not going to pay for it. Last thing that we're going to give you is insurance for 60 days. So there's a company called Lacquer Insurance, and they've done us an absolutely incredible deal. We make nothing at all from it, and we get to give you 60 days of free insurance for your bike. That, coupled with the gold standard lock that you've got, means that you can securely go and lock this one up when you're out at the cafe and not have to worry about it at all. Last thing, and that's included free as well, that Lacquer Insurance. Last thing is we are going to do free expert home delivery anywhere in England and Wales on this bike. So when you've decided on your bike, you've ordered it from us, we've had it delivered from the factory, we've built it, the last thing that we're going to do, we're going to put it into our own van and we are going to come and deliver it to you personally. We're going to do a full handover and setup of that bike so it's exactly as you expected it to be. So all of that stuff, I think it's worth over £600 for all of that. We're going to include on the bike at no charge at all on all of these bikes that we sell in the next 12 months. So if you're interested, then get on the phone, pick up the phone, send us an email and let's do you a quotation to get you the perfect bike.